Jaguar marketing has been known for a huge blunder. What we don't focus on is how people are doing it right or how to correct this trajectory. So we're going to look at advertising, and I'm going to do my best to fix the marketing plan for this car brand. Maybe some brands should pay attention. I am Primo. This is CarSideChat. Let's be honest, marketing recently is so bad, it literally makes me loathe watching it. Where it really hits me is in my wheelhouse, and that's the automotive sector. I mean, how hard is it to sell something exciting? Well, apparently it's more difficult than I think. Jaguar literally epitomized this and made such a giant faux pas that it disconnected 102 years of history. It's been brought up multiple times, spoofed incessantly, caused damage control to go into action, and is something I think everybody wants to forget, but they can't. I've never seen anyone ever ask, did that really just happen? Were we trolled? What's worse is we're not even sure. I know most people are going to think I'm going to say how woke it went, how ideology and advocacy destroys these companies, destroys their history, and sabotages their customer base. But that is not my mission here. I think it's easier to draw a line in the sand to show everyone else what to do. It's easy to be a critic, but it's hard to save a company that has buried itself so deeply in the sand. So today, we're going to take charge of the marketing department and we're going to figure out a plan. And I'll take it one step further too. I want to hear from you. Once you've heard enough, comment if you think we did it justice or if we dropped the ball as well. So the first problem that we need to overcome is this naming convention. If you buy a 3 Series BMW, you know what you're getting. If you buy an E Series Mercedes, you know what you're getting. No more of this pace and these type names, all of it, it's just confusing. It's 2 letters from now on. If it's a car, it starts with X. If it's a Z, it's an SUV. And just the last letter is going to determine what it is. Since we already have an XE, we'll need a ladder for the electric. So let's go XV with the V standing for volts. The F pace would become the ZV model. It sounds a lot more futuristic too. The ZJ is the full size, etc., etc. You get the picture. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. It's just that every brand does this, does it effectively, and it works. Just follow the success there. The other big problem we have is going into this is the company was already suffering before this marketing came out. Sales were down and some models like the XJ ended up dropping off to support the stuff that wasn't even selling as well. The idea right now of investing in new technology, it's digging a bigger hole than it's building up. Every new technology inherits new problems. The I-Pace had so many fire hazards that it was discontinued, and that just puts more strain on the brand and the brand perception. Doubling down on that new technology, it isn't wise right now when you're in a hole. If the tech isn't solid, it doesn't go to the marketing and it does the digging for you. Everything you make from now on needs to feel like a 1950s refrigerator. And I don't even care if it's ugly, as long as the feeling is it'll outlive us all. Lexus succeeds in this by making boring cars that don't break, and they've done it forever. Their cars hold value, even your accountant is going to recommend one. I also know people won't like this, but EVs don't ding any of these bells right now. They aren't considered reliable. They don't hold value. The only EV I want to see is the SUV, and that's only if it still does well in the market. And that'd go just as much for the gas version. See, this is a stumbling block that Jaguar fell into, and they were doing such a good job around the 2010s when they started introducing this stuff, and all of a sudden with the new things that came out, it just destroyed the brand's perception. So now that we have the big things out of the way, let's get to the real meat and potatoes here. Demographics. Buyers of Jaguars are mostly men between the age of 45 to 64. They smoke cigars, they travel, are into Pilates, and they play golf. They wear leather coats and they hang out in clubhouses. You know what they aren't into? Pastel EVs with 70s disco art. Still, there are a lot of holes in this demographic, so our goal is going to be to fill those, but for now, let's just realize we're not going to beat BMW, we're not going to take down Mercedes. It's their game right now, so we have to play it accordingly. So instead, if we can't fight in their market, we need to create one. Today's buyer is becoming more and more frugal, but if they're buying a Jaguar, they want prestige, and that's what comes with the name. Jaguar isn't like Bentley when it comes to being handmade, but they still have that prestigious feel and some history as well as racing history. So let's push that. Let's take it as looking like $1 million on a budget. Push that you use quality products, but thinking about cutting edge technology. Use that to say you make a better car, but it's more reliable. It just doesn't cost as much. That's going to mix that old familiar with the new and inventive, creative curiosity. So we need to make something that looks like $1 million, but it doesn't cost like $1 million. It's really working in your wheelhouse. It's at the same time while expanding on it. We can tap into that retro feel as well. Truth here is what we're trying to do is make longevity. It can't look like daycare art projects on a wall. If it does, we fail. Really, everybody needs to take notes here. The way we're going to trick this market is by making a car that's so reliable that it holds value better than any of its competition. It's a car that you'd be stupid not to buy. We need people to say, I didn't know Jaguar could be like this. This is a whole new brand. So I used to know a lot of guys at Jaguar. They did such a good job of escaping their old Ford roots. So I know that they can do it. The point here is to have buyers not just buy one car or even trade it in, but I want them to buy multiple cars and then hold on to all of them. By the way, that's what I think Jaguar owners do naturally. Maybe that's a demographic thing for my area. Tell me in the comments. Is that what you see? Still, you should be proud to own one. Even if you own other brands, you just add one to the collection and notice it's a car that you are going to collect. I love this tagline, attainable and still exclusive. Marketing, you better write that down right now. Next, you need a bespoke department, a place that can do custom bills, a place where buyers can spend the money to get exactly what they want, and they don't care as much about the budget. At first, it's just extended range of options, adding in exclusive leathers, limited colors like golds, greens, two-tones. These are going to be your highline products, and it's what you're going to use to advertise everything you have. If someone wants to spend the money, they can, but they need to feel like they need to work to attain this level. Sure, we're saying you can afford these cars, but we're also displaying a car that is a big ticket item that's going to draw people in. This is basic marketing, by the way. Learn from literally every other luxury brand out there, and you're going to see this same kind of procedure over and over again. I like the idea of a diamond bespoke that really makes you think quality and even adds something like a special logo, not a stupid little J. I want to reward people for taking that step up and even have delivery parties. People too long have treated Jaguar more like a low-rent BMW and everything's just normal. You got to have a product that's affordable, but treat it like it's a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce. People who buy these cars, especially the step-up diamond models, you come in, you take delivery, there's going to be a gigantic party celebrating that you purchased this car. And this is also a great place you can introduce stupid ideas. Glowing door seals, floor lights, comfortable mats, starlight roofs. People should have fun building their cars at this level. But make sure it still looks good. And make sure people share it around. Seriously, marketing, I don't know how hard it is to use an internet search to find this stuff that's proven to work over and over again. So once we got that out of the way, we're going to make cars from here on in. We need to work on another glaring problem, and that is, like I said before, our target market. It's missing two major groups, and that is women and youth. 62% of the car market right now are women, but it shouldn't be a shock that they influence 85% of the decision making. They love SUVs, they love performance, so a utility vehicle during the week and a fun car on the weekend. We're targeting their fashion, their power, but we're going to take it one further. I want everyone that owns a Jaguar to look like they know what they're talking about. A consumer professional that relaxes just as hard as they work. I want to see the we see you. I hope you folks are tracking where I'm going with this. We show a man and a woman in the commercial. They're looking professional. They're working together. They live together. They're happy. They're unified. And all they own is Jaguar. Why? Because they agree on everything. I mean, I know it sounds cutting edge, doesn't it? I would love a commercial where the guy hands the keys to his wife and they just enjoy the drive together. And don't even point it out. Just be subtle about it. The next group is Gen Z. Give them rustic fashion, perfect beards, retro styling, old-fashioned suits. I'd even have a cigar cutter in the car. I started discovering this crazy stuff like cottage core and all these things that just, being an older guy, you look at it and it just brings me back to my youth of saying, man, that thought of living in a log cabin or living a simpler life, it's just a cool idea. And the first thing I thought was, these people, they want to drive a Jaguar. They just don't know it yet. Oh, and did I mention Gen Z? They're the forefront of accumulated wealth. A report from Nielsen IQ, Gen Z is the fastest growing spending power out there. It's going to reach around 12 trillion by 2030. And they're an age group that would prefer something classically styled with an air of sophistication. This is right up Jaguar's alley. Driving into the countryside, a picnic in front of a beautiful villa or waterfall. Man, it even makes me feel warm reading about it. And the last straw that I like about this, which this is crazy, but you're going to love it, start some commercial wars, start some advertising wars, make fun of the new wave of cars out there and describe them as bland and numb. You really need to show that you are loyal to your buyers and what they represent. So while other brands are going dull and bland, you plan to stay on course. Talk about copy nobody. This is completely different. While most brands are trying to be rainbow 1960 colors and electrifying everything, you'd be the only brand out there that's keeping the traditions alive and passing it on to a new generation, saying you plan to hold out to be the last group to adopt EV or any of the government mandates for that matter. And that's what makes a brand strong, is when it'll stand up to things and say, we're not going to change until we absolutely have to, because it's not about what the government says, it's about loyalty to the customer. And that's a generation that cares about everyone's success while building this new community around your brand. But it's not new, it's really the old familiar. So here's my thing. If it doesn't work to be the little fish in the big ocean, then be the big fish in your own private pond. And let's be obvious, the look of the cars here are going to be key, and you will eventually need an EV option. But unlike the rushed eye pace that's just costing money, you're going to have plenty of time to build a solid lineup of vehicles, working more on cars that do work and less on the ones that don't. And that's going to give you a simple, easy transition to whatever your new look and your new path will be coming down the road once you're forced to do it. Now, I keep looking at a good example here in Aston Martin right now. You see their marketing, and it's so simple, stupid, it's awesome. They plan to keep manuals, they want fast cars, they've adopted louder, gas-oriented vehicles. It's like them throwing their fist in the air and just saying, not today, Diddy. And I need to add, none of this is new. It's all something that's worked for others everywhere all the time. Cutting edge, spoiler alert, doesn't mean just building EVs that are headed into a buying war between some cars that literally every car is pretty much the same, and whoever builds the cheapest one wins. But still, we ain't done yet. The reason that brands like Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, the Ferrari, they're seeing these big gains while the other opponents are starting to falter is because they're holding on to their traditions as long as they possibly can. And then they make people aware of it. They still say, you can have what you want. And their bespoke programs are doing just that. And freedom, it's an amazing thing. People really want it in every situation, and they want to celebrate it. It's simply allowing people to make cars that match their distinct loves and build a whole community around it. Think of it this way. Make yourself water in the desert, and you can ask any price you want. And all you have to do, crazy enough, is listen to your customers. This is a great opportunity to work with fashion outlets, places that make suits, rustic ones specifically, and stuff like golf polos. Make your car a fashion statement. Then support the hundreds of car clubs around the world that identify with your brand. Adopt them into the fold. Support them. It's funny because everybody in the car world always said we don't like the clubs being involved. And funny enough, if you support these clubs, they support you right back. And do it at a dealership level. Train them if you have to. I've seen 3 such social clubs pop up around me alone in the last year, and I am guaranteed to see more. It couldn't hurt to have women's driving events either. Add storage options to dealerships. If you live off of service and service no longer exists, consider different options. Evolve, advance, the stuff that you were supposed to be doing, or the stuff that you thought you were doing. Be the future that we already live in. That's the real future, not the one you were sold on. And if you ask me my personal opinion, this is the first time I'm going going to have something subjective here, I'd love to see the XK come back or some variation of that track car feel. A nice halo car that's still attainable. It needs to feel like still a track car again that fits that perfect niche of performance and price. And I know Jaguar can still do performance and something you can stick in a video game, continue to build the future in the brand. But I get this, the budget may not allow it, and it being halo cars, they usually don't sell a lot. So a limited model, higher cost, it's a balancing act. If you are the only brand with that kind of halo car that even if it's a hybrid, I think it would still put you on the map. Still today, the SUV, it's going to be the cash cow of every motor group. It's what's keeping them alive, especially with as regulations close in on people, it's making things more and more difficult for everybody. So you're going to have to push it, and there's nothing wrong with both a motor and an EV option. But if they work, they have to be the right aesthetics. And that's what I got. Will it work? I don't know. Is it based on advertising that's worked in the car world before, today and yesterday, and creates a scarcity position that is exceptional at building value, especially in the luxury vehicle market? Probably. What I do know, and that's is without a shadow of a doubt, is it won't be the train wreck that we got. I just know that trying to target the buyer that would buy a banana stuck to a wall, it just isn't good marketing sense. And we're seeing that failure right now on full display. Copy nothing was actually copy everything. And it was everything that failed. So we could just continue down the course right now that's guaranteed to fail, or we could try something different and hope it succeeds. There are no guarantees in marketing, unfortunately. And the worst part is I can't blame Jaguar's top brass because the lie that led to this has been a lie perpetrated by everyone. I can blame the marketing team because they didn't do the research, they didn't look at the history, and they literally bought into something that was probably a 2-page memo at best. It hasn't just failed once, it's failed every time. It caters to 12% of the population, but what you don't realize is you've lost 100% of your actual buying market. Still, marketers, even ones from Jaguar, tell me that what I'm saying here is hatred for their brand, hatred for change. And in my summation, they believe I'm being mean, that I should just get on board with their plan of building things without question, but I can't. And why? Well, simply put, because I do love Jaguar and I actually do care. And I think the people out there who are making this noise, the reason that they're making the noise they have is because they care too. We care about its history. We care about its future, which appears to me more than I can say for you. And you actually work there. The problem is nobody has questioned the path way back when it started. They didn't realize you were creating marketing for you and your friends and not for Jaguar. And the customers that dedicated their time to make the money to purchase your product, they got left out in the cold. Maybe you saw them as entitled, rich people, not good enough for your modern future. Boomers, as you call them. You clung to some form of hate and you sacrificed them, and you did it public, and for some reason nobody stopped you. And I think that's a good reason to be upset. For them, this is betrayal. So I'm here to deliver their message. Be the company you were meant to be for your customers, or chances are they'll write you in the history books as an example not to follow. So I want to thank my audience here, and I hope that you find the supercar, the luxury car, whatever car that you feel is yours, the car that connects you to the road. And I hope you push back on this marketing. Continue to say, I don't agree with it. Tell the politicians this is not the cars that we want. And do it to whoever will listen. It's time that you make your voice heard, and then you'll start making a real difference. So thank you for tuning into our channel, making it so successful. We appreciate you, and it means a lot. And if you haven't had a chance yet, pick up some apparel and stay updated by following our content. As for me, I'm going to look for more content to share. But until then, Excelsior.